the hurly-burly's done, when the battle's lost and won.
That will be in Exeter,
where the place
upon the heath,
there to meet with Macbeth.
I come bring on
paddock halls,
anon.
Fair is foul and foul is fair, over through the fall and fill the air.
Bloody man is that? He can report, as seemeth by his plight, of the revolts, the newest state.
This is the sergeant who, like a good and hardy soldier, fought against my captivity. Hail, brave friend. Save the king in the knowledge of the royalists, thou didst leave it.
Doubtful it stood, as two swinswimmers that do cling together and choke their art. The merciless Macdonald, from western isles of Kansas, hence supplied. Battle's too weak for brave Macbeth. Well, he deserves that name. Disdaining fortune with brandished steel which smote with bloody execution. Like Valor's minion, carved out his passage till he faced the slave, and seeming him from the knave to the chaps, and fix his head upon our battlements.
Oh, valiant cousin, worthy gentleman.
Battle. The Norwegian lord, surveying vantage with furbished arms and new supplies of men, began afresh. Assault.
Undismayed not this, our captains Macbeth and Banquo.
Yes. Sparrows, eagles, or the hare, the lion. But I am weak. My gashes cry out.
So well thy words become thee as thy wounds. They smack of honour both. Go, get him surgeons. Who comes here?
The worthy Thane of Ross.
God save the king.
Whence camest thou, worthy Thane?
From Fife, great king, when Norwegian banners flout the sky and fan our people cold. The Thane of Cawdor began a dismal conflict, and to conclude, the victory fell on us.
No more that Thane of Cawdor shall deceive our bosom interest. Go, pronounce his present death, and with his former title greet Macbeth.
I'll see it done.
What he hath lost, noble Macbeth hath won.
A drum, Macbeth doth come.
The weird sisters, hand in hand, posters of the sea and land.
Thus do go about, thrice to thine and thrice to mine, and thrice again to make up 9.
Peace, charms well.
So foul and fair a day I have not seen.
How far is it called to Forest? What are these? So withered and so wild in their attire, that look not like the inhabitants of the earth, and yet are on it. Live you? Or are you aught that man may question?
Speak if you can. What are you?
All hail Macbeth, hail to thee, Thane of Glamis.
All hail Macbeth, hail to thee, Thane of Cawdor.
All hail Macbeth, that shalt be king hereafter.
My noble partner, you greet with present grace and great prediction of noble having and of royal hope, that he seems rapt with all. To me, you speak nods. If you can look into the seeds of time and say which grain will grow and which will not, speak then to me, who neither begs nor fears your favours nor your hate.
Hail, hail, lesser than Macbeth, and greater.
Not so happy, yet much happy.
Thou shalt get kings, though thou be not. So all hail Macbeth and Banquo.
Banquo and Macbeth, all hail.
Stay, you imperfect speakers, tell me more. By Sinon's death, I know I am Thane of Glamis, but how of Cawdor? The Thane of Cawdor lives, a prosperous gentleman, and to be king stands not within the prospect of belief no more than to be Cawdor. Say, from whence you owe this strange intelligence, or why upon this blasted heath you stop us in our way with such prophetic greeting? Speak, I charge you!
The earth hath bubbles, as the water has, and these are of them. Whither are they vanished?
Into the air. And what seemed corporal melted as breath into the wind. Would they had stayed!
Were such things here as we do speak about, or have we eaten upon the insane root that takes reason prisoner?
Your children shall be kings.
You shall be king.
And Thane of Cawdor too, went it not so?
To the self-same tune and words. Who comes here?
I am sent to give thee from our royal master thanks, only to herald thee into his sight, not pay thee. And for an earnest of a greater honour, he bade me from him call thee Thane of Cawdor. In which addition, hail, most worthy Thane. It's thine.
What? Can the devil speak true?
The Thane of Cawdor lives. Why do you dress me in borrowed robes?
Who was the Thane lives yet, but under heavy judgment bears that life which he deserves to lose. Treason's capital, confessed and proved, have overthrown him.
Glamis and Cawdor. The greatest is behind. Thanks for your pains. Do you not hope your children shall be kings when those that gave the Thane of Cawdor to me promised no less to them?
It is strange, and oftentimes, to win us to our harm, the instruments of darkness tell us truths, win us with honest trifles, to betray us in deepest consequence. Cousin, a word, I pray you.
Two truths are told as happy prologues to the swelling act of the imperial theme. Cannot be good. Cannot be ill. If good, why have they given me earnest of success commencing in a truth? I am Thane of Cawdor. If ill, why do I yield to that suggestion whose horrid image doth unfix my hair and make my seated heart knock at my ribs against the use of nature? Present fears are less than horrible imaginings. My thought, whose murder is yet but fantastical shape, so my single state of man, that function, is smothered in surmise. And nothing is but what is not.
Look how our partner's wrapped.
If chance will have me king, why chance may crown me without my stir. Come what come may, time and the hour runs through the roughest day.
Worthy Macbeth, we stay upon your leisure.
Give me your favour, my dull brain was wrought with things forgotten. Let us toward the king.
His execution done on Cawdor, and not those in commission yet returned.
My liege, he did confess his treasonous deeds. Nothing in his life became him like believing it. He died as one that had been studied in his death. To throw away the dearest thing he owed as 'twere a careless trifle.
There's no art to find the mind's construction in the face. He was a gentleman on whom I built an absolute trust. O worthiest cousin, would thou hast less deserved that the proportion both of thanks and payment might have been mine. Only I have left to say, more is thy due than more than all can pay.
The service and the loyalty I owe in doing it pays itself.
Sons, kingsmen, thanes, and you whose places are the nearest, know we will establish our estate upon our eldest, Malcolm, whom we name hereafter the Prince of Cumberland. From hence to Inverness, and bid us further to you.
The rest is labour which is not used for you. I'll be myself the harbinger and make joyful the hearing of my wife at your approach. So humbly take my leave.
My worthy Cawdor.
The Prince of Cumberland. That is a step on which I must fall down, or else a leap, for in my way it lies. Stars, hide your fires. Let not light see my black and deep desires.
They met me in the day of success, and I have learned by the perfectest report they have more in them than mortal knowledge. When I burned in the desire to question them further, they made themselves air into which they vanished. Whilst I stood wrapped in the wonder of it, came missives from the king, who all hailed me Thane of Cawdor, by which title before these weird sisters saluted me, and referred me to the coming on of time with "Hail, king that shalt be." This have I thought good to deliver thee, my dearest partner in greatness, that thou might not lose the dews of rejoicing by being ignorant of what greatness is promised thee. Lay it to thy heart, and farewell. Glamis thou art, and Cawdor, and thou shalt be what thou art promised. Yet do I fear thy nature. 'Tis too full of the milk of human kindness to catch the nearest way. Thou wouldst be great, art not without ambition, but without thee illness should attend it. Hie thee hither, that I may pour mine spirits in thine ear, and chastise with the valour of my tongue all that impedes thee from the golden round, which fate and metaphysical aid doth seem to have thee crowned withal. What is your tidings?
The king comes here tonight.
The raven himself is hoarse that croaks the fatal entrance of Duncan under my battlements. Come, you spirits that tend on mortal thoughts, unsex me here, and fill me from the crown to toe top full of direst cruelty. Make thick my blood. Stop up the access and passage to remorse, that no compunctious visitings of nature shake my fell purpose, nor keep peace between the effect and it. Come, thick night, and pull thee in the dunnest smoke of hell, that my keen knife see not the wound it makes, nor heaven peep through the blanket of the dark to cry, "Hold! Hold!" Glamis, worthy Cawdor, greater than both by the all-hail hereafter. Thy letters have transported me beyond the ignorant present, and I see now the future in the instant.
My dearest love, Duncan comes here tonight.
And when goes hence?
Tomorrow, as he purposes.
Oh, never shall the sun that morrow see. Your face, my Thane, is as a book, where men may read strange matters. To beguile the time, look like the time. There welcome in your eye, your hand, your tongue. Look like the innocent flower, but be the serpent under it. He that's coming must be provided for, and you will put this night's great business into my dispatch, which shall, to all our nights and days to come, bring solely sovereign sway and masterdom.
We will speak further.
Only look up clear. To alter favour ever is to fear. Leave all the rest to me.
Ah, Cece, our honoured hostess. The love that follows us sometime is our trouble, which still we thank as love. Herein I teach you how you shall bid God yield us for your pains and thank us for your trouble.
All our service, and every point done twice and then done double, were poor and single business to contend against those honours deep and broad, wherewith your majesty loads our house.
Ah, fair noble hostess, we are your guests tonight.
Our servants ever have theirs themselves, and what is theirs incompt, to lay their audit at your highness's pleasure, still to return your own.
No. Give me your hand. Conduct me to mine host. We love him highly and shall continue our graces towards him. But by your leave, hostess.
If it were done when 'tis done, then 'twere well it were done quickly. if the assassination could trammel up the consequence and catch with his surcease success. That but this blow might be the be-all and the end-all here. But here upon this bank and shoal of time, we jump the life to come, but in these cases, we still have judgment here. That we but teach bloody instructions which being taught return to plague the inventor. This even-handed justice commends the ingredients of our poison chalice to our own lips. He's here in double trust. First as I am his kinsman and his subject, strong both against the deed, then as his host, who should against his murderer shut the door, not bear the knife myself. Besides, this Duncan hath borne his faculties so meek, hath been so clear in his great office, that his virtues will plead like angels trumpet-tongued against the deep damnation of his taking off. And pity, like a naked, newborn babe striding the blast, or heaven's cherubim horsed upon the sightless couriers of the air, shall blow the horrid deed in every eye, that tears shall drown the wind. I have no spur to prick the sides of my intent, but only vaulting ambition, which o'erleaps itself and falls on the other. How now, what news?
He has almost supped. Why have you left the chamber?
We will proceed no further in this business. He hath honoured me of late, and I have bought golden opinions from all sorts of people, which should be worn now in their newest gloss, not cast aside so soon.
Was the hope drunk? Wherein you dressed yourself, hath it slept since? And wakes it now to look so green and pale at what it did so freely? From this time such I account thy love. Art thou afeard to be the same in thine own act and valour as thou art in desire? Would thou have that which thou considers the ornament of life, and live a coward in thine own esteem, letting I dare not wait upon I would like the poor cat in the adage?
Prithee, peace! I dare do all that may become a man. Who dares do more is none.
What beast was it, then, that made you break this enterprise to me? When you durst do it, then you were a man. And to be more than what you were, you would be so much more the man. Nor time nor place did then adhere, and yet you would make both. They have made themselves, and that their fitness now does unmake you. I have given suck, and know how tender 'tis to love the babe that milks me. But I would, while it was smiling in my face, have plucked my nipple from its boneless gums and dashed its brains out, had I so sworn, as you have done to this.
If we should fail?
We fail! But screw your courage to the sticking place and we'll not fail. The king's 2 chamberlains will I, with wine and wassail, so convince that memory, the warder of the brain, is but a fume, the receipt of reason a limbeck only. When in a swinish sleep their drenched natures lies as in a death, what cannot you and I perform upon the unguarded Duncan? What not put upon his spongy officers, who shall bear the guilt of our great quell?
Will it not be received when we have marked with blood those sleepy 2 of his own chamber, and used their very daggers that they have done it?
Who dares receive it other, when we will make our grief and clamour roar upon his death?
I am settled, and bend up each corporal agent to this terrible feat. Away, and mock the time with fairest show. False face must hide what the false heart doth know.
How goes the night, boy?
The moon is down. I have not yet heard the clock.
Hold. A heavy summons lies like lead upon me, and yet I would not sleep. Merciful powers restrain in me the cursed thoughts that nature gives way to in repose. Hold. Give me my sword. Who's there?
Friend.
What, sir? Not yet at rest. The king's bed. He hath been in unusual pleasure, and sent forth great largesse to your offices. I dreamt last night
Of the three weird sisters? To you they have shown some truth.
I think not of them. Yet when we can entreat an hour to serve, we would spend it in some words upon that business, if you would grant the time.
At your kindest leisure.
Good repose the while.
Thanks, sir. The like to you.
Is this a dagger which I see before me? The handle toward my hand. Come, let me clutch thee. I have thee not, and yet I see thee still. Art thou not, fatal vision, sensible to feeling as to sight? Or art thou but a dagger of the mind, a false creation proceeding from the heat-oppressed brain? I see thee still, in form as palpable as this which now I draw. Thou marshalledst me the way that I was going. Such an instrument I was to use. Mine eyes are made the fools of the other senses, or else worth all the rest. I see thee still! And on thy blade, and dudgeon gouts of blood, which was not so before. There's no such thing. It is the bloody business which informs thus to mine eyes. Now, O the one half world, nature seems dead. Witchcraft celebrates pale Hecate's offerings and withered murder, alarmed by his sentinel the wolf, whose howls his watch. Thus, with his stealthy pace, with Tarquin's ravishing strides towards his design, moves like a ghost. Thou sure and firm set earth, hear not my steps which way they walk, for fear thy very stones prate of my whereabouts. And take the present horror from the time which suits with it. Was I threat, he lives. Words to the heat of deeds too cold breath gives. I go, and it is done. The bell invites me. Hear it not, Duncan, for it is a knell that summons thee to heaven or to hell.
That which hath made them drunk hath made me bold. That which hath quenched them hath given me fire. Peace. It was the owl that shrieked, the fatal bellman that gives the sternest good night. He is about it. The doors are open and the surfeited grooms do mock their charge with snores. I have drugged their possets, that death and nature do contend about them whether they live or die.
Who's that? Wow!
Alack, I am afeard they have awaked and 'tis not done. The attempt to knot the deed confounds us. Hark, I have laid the daggers ready, he could not miss them. Had he not resembled my father as he slept, I had done it.
I have done the deed. Dost thou not hear a noise?
I heard the owl shriek and the crickets cry. Did not you speak?
When?
Now.
As I descended?
Aye.
Hark! Who lies in the second chamber?
Donalbain.
This is a sorry sight.
A foolish thought to say a sorry sight.
There's one did laugh in sleep, and one cried murder. One cried God bless us, and amen the other, as they had seen me with these hangmen's hands. Listening their fear, I could not say amen when they did say God bless us.
Consider it not so deeply.
But wherefore could I not pronounce amen? I had most need of blessing and amen stuck in my throat. Methought I heard a voice cry, sleep no more. Macbeth does murder sleep, and therefore Cawdor shall sleep no more. Macbeth shall sleep no more!
Who was it that thus cried? Why, worthy Thane, you do unbend your noble strength to think so brain-sickly of things. Go, get some water and wash this filthy witness from your hands. Why did you bring the daggers from the place? They must lie there. Go, carry them and smear the sleepy groomsmen with blood.
I'll go no more. I am afraid to think what I have done. Look on't again, I dare not.
Oh, infirm of purpose, give me the daggers. The sleeping and the dead are but as pictures. 'Tis the eye of childhood who fears a painted devil. If he do bleed, I'll gild the faces of the grooms with oil, for it must seem their guilt.
Whence is that knocking? How is't with me when every noise appalls me? What hands are here? Ha! They pluck out mine eyes. Will all great Neptune's oceans wash this blood clean from my hand? No. This my hand will rather the multitudinous seas incarnadine, making the green one red.
My hands are of your colour, but I shame to wear a heart so white. I hear a knocking at the south entry. Retire we to our chamber. A little water clears us of this deed. How easy is it then? Your constancy hath left you unattended. Hark, more knocking. Retire we to our chamber, lest occasion call us and show us to be watchers. Be not lost so poorly in your thoughts.
To know my deed, 'twere best not to know myself. Wake Duncan with thy knocking! I would thou couldst.
Here's a knocking indeed. If a man were a porter of Elgate, well, he should have old turning the key. Knock, knock, knock. Who's there in the name of Beelzebub? Here's a farmer who hanged himself on the expectation of plenty. Oh, come in time. Have napkins enough about you, ain't you? You'll sweat for it. Knock, knock, knock. Who's there in the other devil's name? Faith.
Here is an equivocator. I could swear on both the scales against either scale, who committed treason enough for the gods' sake, yet could not equivocate to heaven.
Oh, come in, equivocator. Knock, knock, knock. Who's there? Faith.
Here is a tailor, come hither, for stealing out of French hose.
Oh, come in, tailor. Here you may roast your goose. Knock, knock, knock. Who's there? And why you?
But this place is too cold for hell. I'll never porter it no further. I had thought to learn some of all professions that go the primrose way, the everlasting bonfire.
No, 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 I pray you.
Remember the porter.
Was it so late, friend, ere you went to bed, that you do lie so late?
Indeed, sir. We were carousing till the second cup and drink, sir. It's a great provoker of three things.
What three things does drink especially provoke?
Marry, sir. Nose painting, sleep, and urine. Lechery, sir. It provokes and it unprovokes. Provokes a desire, but takes away the performance. Therefore, much drink may be said to be an equivocator with lechery. It makes him and it molds him. It sets him on and it takes him off. It persuades him and discharges him. Makes him stand to and not stand to. In conclusion, equivocates him into a sleep and, giving him the lie, leaves him.
I believe that drink gave thee the lie last night.
It did, sir, it did.
Is thy master stirring? Knocking has awaked him. Here he comes.
Good morrow, noble sir.
Good morrow, both. Is the king stirring, worthy thane?
Not yet.
He did command me to call timely on him. I have almost slipped the hour.
I'll bring you to it.
I know this is a joyful trouble to you, but yet 'tis one.
The labour we delight in visits pain. This is the door.
I'll make so bold to call. Well, 'tis my limited service.
Goes the king hence today?
He does. He did appoint so.
The night has been unruly. Where we lay, our chimneys were blown down, and, as they say, lamentings heard in the air strange screams of death. Some said the earth was feverous and did shake.
'Twas a rough night.
My young remembrance cannot parallel a fellow to it.
Oh, horror, horror, horror. Tongue nor heart cannot conceive nor name me.
What's the matter?
Most sacrilegious murder hath broke ope the Lord's anointed temple and stole thence the life of the building.
What is you say the life?
Mean you his majesty?
Approach the chamber and destroy your sight. Wake! Awake! Ring the alarm bell! Murder and treason! This dowry sleep death's counterfeit, and look on death itself! Up, up, and see the great doom's image. Malcolm! Banquo, as from your graves, rise up! And walk like sprites to countenance this horror. Ring the bell!
What's the business that such a hideous trumpet calls to parlay the scenes of the house? Sleep, sleep!
Our royal master's murdered.
Oh, alas, in our house!
Too cruel anywhere. Prithee, Macduff, contradict thyself and say it is not so.
What is amiss?
You are, and do not know it. The spring, the head, the fountain of your blood is stopped. The very source is stopped.
Your royal father's murdered.
Oh. By whom?
Those of his chamber, as it seemed, had done it. Their hands and faces were badged with blood, as for their daggers, which unwiped we found upon their pillows. They stared and were distracted. No man's life was to be trusted with them.
Oh, yet I do repent me of my fury that I did kill them.
Wherefore did you so?
Who can be wise, amazed, temperate and furious, loyal and neutral in a moment? No man. The expedition of my violent love outran the pause of reason. Here lay Duncan, his silver skin laced with his golden blood, and his gash stabs looked like a breach in nature for ruin's wasteful entrance. There, the murderers, steeped in the colours of their trade, their daggers unmannily breached with gore. Who could refrain that had a heart to love, and in that heart courage to make love known?
Help me hence! Look to the lady. And when we have our naked frailties hid that suffer in exposure, let us meet and question this most bloody piece of work to know it further. Fears and scruples shake us. In the great hand of God I stand, and thence against the undivulged pretense I fight of treasonous malice.
And so do I.
So all.
Let's briefly put on manly readiness and meet in the hall together.
Well
contented.
What will you do? Let's not consort with them. To show an unfelt sorrow is an office which the false man does easy. I'll to England.
To Ireland I. Our separated fortune shall keep us both the safer. Where we are, there's daggers in men's smiles.
This a murderous shaft that shot hath not yet lighted, and our safest way is to avoid the aim. Therefore, to horse.
How goes the world, sir, now?
Why, see you not?
Is it known who did this more than bloody deed?
Those that Macbeth hath slain.
Alas! What good could they pretend?
They were suborned. Malcolm and Donalbain, the king's two sons, are stolen away and fled, which puts upon them suspicion of the deed.
Against nature still. Thriftless ambition that will raven up thine own life's means. Then 'tis most like the sovereignty will fall upon Macbeth.
He is already named, and gone to Scone to be invested.
Thou hast it now. King, Cawdor, Glamis, all, as the weird women promised. And yet I fear thou played most foully for it. Yet it was said it would not stand in thy posterity, but that myself be the root and father of many kings. If there come truth from them, then by which on the verities of thee made good, may they not be my oracles as well, and set me up in hope? But hush, no more.
Here's our chief guest. Tonight we hold a solemn supper, sir, and I request your presence. Ride you this afternoon.
Aye, my lord.
So far you ride.
As far, my lord, as will fill up the time twixt this and supper. Go not my horse the better, I must become a borer of the night for a dark hour or two.
Fail not our feast.
My lord, I will not.
We hear our bloody cousins are bestowed in England and in Ireland, not confessing their cruel parricide, filling their hearers with strange invention, but of that tomorrow. Goes Fleance with you?
Aye, my lord. Our time does call upon us.
I wish your horses swift and sure of foot, and so I do commend you to their bags. Farewell. Let every man be master of his time till 7 at night. Attend those men our pleasure.
Yes, they are, my lord, without the palace gate.
Bring them before us. To be thus is nothing, but to be safely thus. Our fears in Banquo stick deep, and in his royalty of nature reigns that which would be feared. 'Tis much he dares, and that dauntless temper of his mind, he hath a wisdom that doth guide his valour to act in safety. There is none but he who I do fear, and under him my genius is rebuked, as it is said Mark Antony's was by Caesar. He chid the sisters when first they put the name of king upon me and bade them speak him. Then, prophet-like, they hailed him father to a line of kings. Upon my head they placed a fruitless crown, thence to be wrenched with an unlineal hand, no son of mine succeeding. If it be so, for Banquo's issue have I filed my mind. For them the gracious Duncan have I murdered, put rankers in the vessel of my peace only for them, and mine eternal jewel given to the common enemy of man, to make them kings, the seed of Banquo kings! Rather than so, come fate into the list and champion me to the utterance. Who's there? Was it not yesterday we spoke together?
It was, so please your highness.
Both of you know Banquo was your enemy.
True, my lord.
So is he mine. And in such bloody distance that every minute of his being thrusts against my nearest of life. We shall perform, me lord.
Will you command us? Your spirits shine through you.
I will advise you where to plant yourselves, acquaint you with the perfect spire, the time, the moment on it. For it must be done tonight. And something from the palace, and with him, Fleance, his son, that keeps him company, whose absence is no less material to me than is his father's, must embrace the fate of that dark hour. Resolve yourselves apart, I'll come to you anon.
We are resolved, my lord.
Sit down. At first and last, a hearty welcome.
Thanks, Your Majesty.
Ourself will mingle with society and play the humble host. Our hostess keeps her state, but in best time will require her welcome.
Pronounce it for me, sir, to all our friends, for my heart speaks they are welcome.
Be large in mirth. Anon, we'll drink and measure the table round. There's blood on my face.
'Tis Banquo's then.
'Tis better thee without than he within. Is he dispatched?
My lord, his throat is cut. That I did for him.
Thou art the best of the cutthroats, yet he's good that did the like for Fleance. If thou didst it, thou art the nonpareil.
Most royal sir.
Fleance escaped.
Then comes my fit again. I had else been perfect, as whole as the marble, as founded as the rock, as broad and general as the casing air. But now I am cabined, cribbed, confined, bound into saucy doubts and fears. But Banquo's safe.
Aye, my good lord, safe in a ditch he bides with 20 trenched gashes in his head, the least a death to nature.
Thanks for that. Get thee gone. Tomorrow we'll hear ourselves again.
My royal lord, you do not give the cheer. The feast is sold that is not often vouched, while 'tis a making, 'tis given with welcome. From thence the source to meet is ceremony, meeting not bear without it.
Sweet remembrance. Now, good digestion wait on appetite, and health on both.
Please it your noble highness to grace us with your royal company.
The table's full.
Here's a place reserved, sir.
Where?
Here, my good lord. What is it moves your majesty?
Which of you have done this?
What, my good lord?
Thou canst not say I did it. Never shake thy gory locks at me!
Gentlemen, rise, his highness is not. Sit, worthy friends, my lord is often thus, and hath been from his youth. I pray you, keep seat. The fit is momentary, upon a thought he will be well again. Oh, you man.
Aye, and a bold one that dare look on that which might appall the devil.
Proper stuff, this is the very painting of your fear. Why do you make such faces? When all's done, you look but on a stool.
Prithee, see there! Look! Lo, behold! How say you? Why, what care I, if thou canst not speak to? If carnal houses and our graves must send those that we bury back, our monuments shall be the moors of kites!
Quite unmanned in folly.
If I stand here, I saw him.
Why for shame?
Blood hath been shed. Ere now, in the olden time, ere human statue purged the gentle wheel. Aye, and since too, murders have been performed too terrible for the ear. The times have been that when the brains were out, the man would die and there an end, but now they rise again with 20 mortal murders on their crowns and push us from our stools. This is more strange than such a murder is.
My worthy lord, your noble friends do lack you.
I do forget. Do not muse at me, my most worthy friends. I have a strange infirmity which is nothing to those that know me. Come, love and health to all. Then I'll sit down. Give me some wine. Full. I drink to the general joy of the whole table, and to our dear friend, Banquo, whom we miss. Would he were here! To all, and him we thirst, and all to all.
Our duties and
Abort, and quit my sight! Let the earth hide thee. Thy bones are marrowless, thy blood is cold. Thou hast no speculations in those eyes that thou dost glare with.
think of this, good peers, that is a thing of custom
what man dare? I dare! Approach thou like the rugged Russian bear, the armed rhinoceros, or the Hircan tiger. Take any shape but that, and my firm nerves shall never tremble. Or be the Macbeth, and dare me to the desert with thy sword. If trembling I inhabit, then protest me the baby of a girl. Hence, horrible shadow, unreal mockery, hence! Why so, being gone, I am mad again. Pray you sit still.
You have displaced the mirth, broke the good meeting with quite admired disorder.
You make me strange even to the disposition that I owe. When now I think you can behold such sights, and keep the natural ruby of your cheeks when mine is blanched with fear.
What sights, my lord? I pray you speak not. He grows worse and worse. Question enrages him. At once, good night. Stand not upon the order of your going, but go at once!
It will have blood, they say. Blood will have blood. Stones have been known to move and trees to speak. Augurs and understood relations have by maggot pies and chuffs brought forth the secrets man of blood. What is the night?
Almost at odds with morning which is which.
How sayest thou that Macduff denies his person at our great bidding?
Did you send for him, sir?
I will tomorrow, to the weird sisters, more shall they speak, for now I am bent to know by the worst means, the worst. For mine own good, all causes shall give way. I am in blood, stepped in so far that should I wade no more, returning were as tedious as to go o'er. Strange things I have in head, that will to hand which must be acted ere they may be scanned.
Lack the seasons of all natures. Sleep.
Come, will to sleep. My strange and self-abuse is the initiate fear which wants our use. We are yet but young indeed.
Fillet of a fenny snake, in the cauldron boil and bake. Eye of newt and toe of frog, wool of bat and tongue of dog.
Adder's fork and blindworm's sting, lizard's leg and owlet's wing. For a charm of powerful trouble, like a hell broth boil and bubble.
Double, double, toil and trouble, fire, ban and cauldron bubble. By the crooking of my thumbs, something wicked this way comes. Open locks, whoever knocks.
How now, you secret black and midnight hags? What is't you do?
A deed without a name.
I conjure you by that which you profess. However you come to know it, answer me to what I ask you.
Speak, demand, will answer.
Sayest thou rather hear it from our mouths or from our masters?
Call him. Let me see him.
Come high or low, thyself and office deftly show.
Tell me, thou unknown power.
Macbeth, Macbeth, Macbeth. Beware Macduff, beware the thing of life. Dismiss me, and out.
Where thou art, for thy good caution, thanks. Thou hast half my feel right, but one word more.
He will not be commanded. Here's another, more potent than the first. Macbeth, Macbeth, Macbeth.
Had I 3 years, I'd hear thee.
Be bloody, bold and resolute. Love to scorn the power of man, for none of whom one shall harm Macbeth.
Then live, Macduff. What need I fear of thee?
Listen, but speak not to it.
Be lion-headed and proud, and take no care who chase and frets, or where his fires are. Macbeth shall never vanquish thee, until great burn of wood to high Dunsinane Hill shall come against him.
Come, sisters, cheer me up with sprites, and show the best of our delights. I'll charm the air.
while you perform your anti-prayer. That this great king may kindly say our duties did his welcome pay.
Where are they?
Gone. Let this pernicious hour stand I accursed in the calendar.
What's your grace's will?
Saw you the weird sisters?
No, my lord.
Came they not by you?
No, indeed, my lord.
Infected be the air whereon they ride, and damned all those that trust them. I heard the galloping of a horse. Who was it came by?
It is 2 or 3, my lord, that bring you word Macduff has fled to England.
Fled to England?
Aye, my lord.
Time. Thou anticipatest my dread exploits. The flighty purpose never is o'ertook unless the deed go with it. From this moment, the very firstlings of my heart shall be the firstlings of my hand. And even now, to crown my thoughts with axe, be it thought and done, the castle of Macduff I will surprise, seize upon Fife, give to the edge of the sword his wife, his babes, and all unfortunate souls that trace him in his line. No boasting like a fool. This deed I'll do before this purpose cool.
Whither should I fly? I've done no harm. But I remember now I'm in this earthly world where to do harm is often laudable, to do good sometimes dangerous folly. Why then, alas, do I put up that womanly defence to say I have done no harm?
Let's find us some desolate shade. Now we keep our sad bosoms empty.
Each new morn, new widows howl, new orphans cry, new sorrows strike heaven on the face, that it resounds as if it felt with Scotland, and yelled out like syllable of dolour.
This tyrant, whose sole name blisters our tongues, was once thought honest. You have loved him well. He hath not touched you yet.
I have lost my hopes. Bleed, bleed, poor country. Great tyranny, lay thou thy basis sure, for goodness dare not check thee. Wear thou thy wrongs, the title is afeard.
I think our country sinks beneath the yoke. It weeps, it bleeds, and each new day a gash is added to her wounds.
See, who comes here?
My countryman, but yet I know him not.
My ever gentle cousin, welcome hither.
I know him now. Good God, but time removes the means that make us strangers.
Stands Scotland where it did.
Alas, poor country. It cannot be called our mother but our grave. Where nothing but who knows nothing is scarce seen to smile. Where sighs and groans and shrieks that rend the air are made not marked. Violent sorrow seems a modern ecstasy. The dead man's knell is scarce asked for who, and good men's lives expire before the flowers in their cap, dying or they sicken.
A relation too nice and yet too true.
What's the newest grief?
The hour doth hiss the speaker. Each minute teems a new one. I have words that would be howled out in the desert air where hearing should not latch them.
What concern they? The general cause? Or is it a fee grief due to some single breast?
No mind that's honest, but in it shares some woe, though the main part pertains to you alone.
If it be mine, keep it not from me. Quickly let me have it.
Let not your ears despise my tongue forever, which shall possess them with the heaviest sound that ever yet they heard.
I guess at it.
Castle is surprised. Your wife and babes savagely slaughtered, and to relate the manner whereon the quarry of those murdered dear to add the death of you.
My children too.
Wife, children, servants, all that could be found.
And I must be from thence. My wife killed too.
I have said.
Be comforted. Let's make us medicines of our great revenge to cure this deadly grief.
He has no children. All my pretty ones, did you say all? Oh, Elkite, all. What, all my pretty chickens and their dam, at one fell swoop?
Dispute it like a man.
I shall do so, but I must also feel it as a man. I cannot but remember such things that were most precious to me. Did heaven look on and would not take their part? Sinful Macduff, they were all struck for thee. Naught that I am, not for their own demerits, but for mine, fell slaughter on their souls. Heaven rest them now.
Be this the whetstone of your sword. Let grief convert to anger, blunt not the heart, enrage it.
I could play the woman with mine eyes and braggart with my tongue, but gentle heavens, cut short all intermission. Front to front bring thou this fiend of Scotland and myself. Within my sword's length set him. If he scape, heaven forgive him too.
This tune goes manly. Come, go we to the king, our power is ready. Our lack is nothing but our leave. Macbeth is ripe for shaking.
Out. Down, Spot. Out, I say. 1, 2. Well then, 'tis time to do it. Hell is murky. Fie, my lord, fie! A soldier and afeard. What need we fear who knows it, when none can call our power to account? But who would have thought the old man to have so much blood in him? The Thane of Fife had a wife. Where is she now? What? Will these hands ne'er be clean? Here's the smell of blood. Still. All the perfumes of Arabia could not sweeten this little hand. Get on your nightgown. Look not so pale. Banquo's buried. She cannot come out one's grave. To bed. To bed. There's knocking at the gate. Come, 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 come. Give me your hand. What's done cannot be undone. To bed. To bed. To bed.
What does the tyrant?
Great Dunsinane he strongly fortifies. Some say he's mad, others that lesser hate him do call it valiant fury.
Bring me no more reports, let them fly all! Till Burnham Wood removed to Dunsinane, I cannot taint with fear. What's the boy Malcolm? Was he not born of woman? Such a man am I to fear or none. The devil damn thee black, thou cream-faced loon! Where gotst thou that goose look?
There is 10,000.
Geese, villain!
Soldiers, sir.
What soldiers, Patch? What soldiers, Wayface?
The English force, so please you.
Take thy face hence. Satan, I say! I am sick at heart when I behold... Satan! This push will cheer me ever or deceive me now. I have lived long enough. My way of life is fallen into the sere, the yellow leaf, and that which should accompany old age, such as honour, love, obedience, troops of friends, I must not look to have, but in their stead, curses, not loud, but deep, mouth, honour, breath, which the poor heart would fain deny and dare not. Satan, I say! What news more? Bring me my armour. I'll fight till from my bones my flesh be hacked. I'll put it on. Send out more horses, stir the country round, hang those that talk of fear, bring me my armour! I will not be afraid of death and bane till Burnham Forest come to Dunsinane.
Let every soldier hew him down a bough and burn before him. Thereby shall we shatter the numbers of our host and make discovery ere report of us.
Hang out our banners on the outward walls, the cry is still they come. Our castle strength will laugh a siege to scorn. Here let them lie till famine and the ague eat them up. Were they not forced with those that should be ours, we might have met them, dare full beard to beard and beat them backward home. What is that noise? I have almost forgot the taste of fears. The time has been my senses would have cooled to hear a night shriek, and my fell of hair would at a dismal treatise rouse and stir as life were in it. Wherefore was thy cry?
The Queen, my lord, is dead.
She should have died hereafter. There would have been a time for such a word. Tomorrow and tomorrow and tomorrow creeps in this petty pace. From day to the last syllable of recorded time. And all our yesterdays have lighted fools the way to dusty death. Out, brief candle. Life's but a walking shadow. A poor player that struts and frets his hour upon the stage and then is heard no more. It is a tale told by an idiot, full of sound and fury, signifying nothing. Thou canst use thy tongue and thy story quickly.
Gracious, my good lord, I should report that which I say I saw, but know not how to do it.
What say, sir?
As I did stand my watch upon the hill, I looked toward Burnham, and anon methought the wood began to move.
Liar and slave!
Let me enjoy your wrath if it be not so. Within this 3 mile may you see it coming, I say, a moving grove.
Who's false? Upon the next tree thou shalt hang alive till famine cling thee. If thy speech be sooth, I care not if thou dost for me as much. I pull in resolution and begin to doubt the equivocation of the fiend that lies like the truth. Fear not, till Burnham Wood removed to Dunsinane, and our wood comes towards Dunsinane. Arm and out. If this which he avouches does appear, there is no flying hence, nor tarrying here. I begin to be aweary of the sun, and wish the estate of the world were now undone. Ring the alarm bell! Blow wind, come rank. At least we'll die with harness on our back.
Now near enough your leafy screens throw down, and show like those you are. You, worthy uncle, shall with my cousin, your right noble son, lead our first battle. Worthy Macduff and we shall take upon us what else remains to do according to our order.
Make all our trumpets speak. Give them all breath, those clamorous harbingers of blood and death.
They have tied me to a stake. I cannot fly, but bear-like I must fight the course. What's he that was not born of woman? Such one am I to fear, or none.
What is thy name?
Thou'lt be afraid to hear it.
No, though thou call'st thyself a hotter name than any is in hell.
My name's Macbeth.
Devil himself could not pronounce a title more hateful to mine ear.
No, no more fearful.
Thou liest, abhorred tyrant! With my sword I'll prove the lie thou speaks!
Thou wast born of woman. But swords I smile at, weapons laugh to scorn, brandished by a man that's of a woman born.
That way the noises. Tyrant, show thy face! If thou beest slain with no stroke of mine, my wife and children's ghosts will haunt me still. I cannot strike at wretched kinds, whose arms are hired to bear their staves. Either thou, Macbeth, or else my sword with an unbattled edge I sheathe again undeeded. There thou shouldst be. By this great platter one of greatest note seemed bruited. Let me find you fortune, and more I beg not.
Why should I play the Roman fool and die on mine own sword? Was I see lives, the gashes do better upon them.
Turn, hellhound, turn!
Of all men else I have avoided thee. But get thee back. My soul is too charged with blood of thine already. Besides, I bear a charmed life which must not yield to one of woman born.
Despair thy charm, and tell the angel whom thou still hast served, Macduff was from his mother's womb untimely ripped.
Cursed be the tongue that tells me so. For it hath cowed my better part of man. I'll not fight with thee.
Then yield thee, coward, and live to be the show and gaze of the time. We'll have thee, as our rarer monsters are, painted on a pole and underwrit. Here, may you see the tyrant.
I will not yield to kiss the ground before young Malcolm's feet. The burning wood become to Dunsinane and now oppose being of no woman born, yet I will try the last. Before my body I throw my warlike shield. Lay on, Macduff, and damned be him the first cries hold enough!
Would the friends we missed were safe arrived?
Some must go off, and yet by these I see so great a day as this is cheaply bought.
Hail, King, for so thou art. Behold where stands the usurper's cursed head. The time is free. I see thee compassed with thy kingdom's pearl, that speak my salutation in their minds, whose voices I desire, aloud with mine. Hail, King of Scotland!
Hail,
King of Scotland!
My thanes and kinsmen, henceforth be ours, the first that ever Scotland in such an honour named. What's more to do, which will be planted newly with the time as calling home our exiled friends abroad, that fled the snares of watchful tyranny, producing forth the cruel ministers of this dead butcher and his fiend-like queen, who, as 'tis thought, by self and violent hands took off her own life. This, and what needful else, calls upon us, by the grace of grace, we will perform in measure, time and place. So thanks to all at once, and to each one whom we invite to see us crowned at Scone.